I was born in 1972, and at that time, no one knew what special needs meant, nor did they understand it. So I went through life being abused by my family, friends, and coworkers. I have been lied to by the friends closest to me. So I developed a rock-solid shield around my heart. I would cuss and lie every chance I got. I was part of a broken home through divorce. I blamed myself. I would go to my dad's for the weekend, and he would take me to church. And by the way, that's the only time I had a drug problem, is being drugged to church. I thought you'd like that. Then when I was in my teens, I went with my church group to Panama Beach. There they had a revival. Now, while I was there, I admit that I had a lot of fun. I was away from all my issues back home, and I was able to just be me. At the beach one night, we had a bonfire, and we sang songs with a band. That was the first time I ever heard Christian music without a choir. I fell in love with that style of music. Then during the message, the preacher said that if I didn't believe in Christ, I would go to hell. Well, that scared me. That opened my eyes. Then the next preacher talked about never-ending love of Christ. Now, that's what I wanted all my life, was to be loved. So at 18, I became saved and baptized, and I was on fire for Christ. I would tell everyone about it, and they all made fun of me. That took the wind out of my sail. As an adult, I would go to church, but I wouldn't be involved. I just showed up. That's inward and outward, by the way. Then when I started my family, I was struggling with money. I had no idea that what I was doing. I heard the preacher tell me that if I were to tithe 10% of my pay, I would receive riches beyond my dreams. Well, I was a big dreamer. So I started doing just that, even though I couldn't afford it. And all I would pray for was to have lots of blessings and money. Well, that didn't work out so good. I turned my back on Jesus and just did my life the best I could. I ended up going through a divorce myself. I was devastated, and all I ever dreamed of, gone. Then here I am, all alone, and I started looking around to see how unhappy I really was and how miserable I was. Then, all of a sudden, I fell to my knees, threw up my hands, and I told God that I was done trying to control my life, and that from now on, I will simply just wake up, go to work, and give my tithe, and whatever happens, just happens. I realized later that at this point, I had officially given up my entire life over to Christ. Complete surrender. I started going to church every time the doors were open. I started tithing without expecting anything in return. Well, let me tell you, God opened all kinds of doors for me. I got remarried to an awesome woman, and we adopted a child, beautiful, wonderful, special needs daughter, and we are working on another adoption at this moment in time. I also never thought I could afford anything. After all, my life was still the same financially. Well, he provided everything I could ever ask for without ever asking for it. Then I was introduced to CR and financial peace through SouthCrest, and that has taken my life in a whole different level. My finances are great. I actually ended up paying off 17 credit cards. Yeah. You ask, how do I get that many? Well, that's another story. All right. So I found peace through sharing my story at CR with other men, and then began sharing openly to anyone that would listen. People started to come to see what the excitement was all about. And now I have friends who love me for me and help me instead of bullying me. Thanks for letting me share.